What is happening, people? It is Brian Alsruhe with NEVERsate.com, and for today's video, what I thought I'd do is give you guys a medical update since so many people ask about it, and then I'm going to talk about how my new current medical situation has affected my eating. So then I'm going to go into like a typical day of eating type of thing. Now, if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about as far as my diseases go, if you would be so kind, go down into the description box and click the link to my medical playlist if you guys want to get caught up. I'm not going to go much into it right now because honestly, a lot of people don't even think I'm sick anymore because I just stopped talking about it. People got sick of hearing about it. I got sick of talking about it. I did not stop being sick though. For those of you who do not know, I have a couple really bad diseases, the worst of which is called schistosomiasis, which actually kills 240,000 people in Africa alone every single year. On top of that, I also have Lyme disease, which is really bad, and a couple other ones, but pretty much schistosomiasis and Lyme are the worst two. Now, I don't actually know how long I've had these. However, it's been at least for the last 5 years, because that's about how long I've been suffering from this stuff. Now, when I say suffering, what I mean is for about 2 or 3 years of the last 5, I've thrown up 30 to 50 times a day, every single day, without fail. Now, if you guys go back and watch some of my older videos, you'll notice that my voice is kind of gone, and that's because bile pretty much destroyed my esophagus. But we're coming back. Now, thanks to some really good friends like Mark Bell and some really smart doctors in New York City, I was able to be cured from that worm disease. However, the symptoms will still remain because of the damage that it did. They don't really know how long this is going to continue or if it will ever stop. So currently, I only throw up 10 to 15 times a day, which is drastically better than what it was. But for those of you who think like I am clear and out of the woods, it's still 10 to 15 times a day, every day without fail. It's bad. However, I will say my life right now is so much drastically better than when I was that sick. When you're that sick, really there is nothing in your life that it does not just completely encapsulate and take over. At the very worst of it, I just stopped eating simply because it set up so many embarrassing situations. Like I would be driving somewhere and I'd throw up all over myself and I'd show up without a change of clothes. Or there was one time I was in a grocery store and I was in a really low spot at this point in my life. I was in the grocery store and I was reaching for something off a shelf and I just threw up right there on the floor. And the person who was doing stocking like came over and was like, "Hey man, are you okay?" Blah, blah. And I was like, I was just so sick of those situations happening that I was like, you know what? I'd rather dry heave a bunch than not actually get anything coming up, even though it's a little more painful and sucks a little worse, but I was like, it's better than just having vomit everywhere all the time. Because my stomach, even to this day, is kind of like a trampoline. Like, I put something in there, whether it be water or food or whatever, I put something in and it's a good chance it is gonna bounce right back out. I apologize, it's gross, but that's my reality. So really, the only solution that I came up with was I wouldn't eat all day long, and then at nighttime, after I got home from coaching at the gym, I would eat as much food as I possibly could. Now, I tried to reach my protein requirements, but I pretty much ate anything that had high calories and then kept eating and kept eating and kept eating, literally until I would pass out. I would pass out with food in my mouth when I fell asleep. Now, that would last for a couple hours until somewhere between 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning when my body starts revolting again and I'd throw up on myself or whatever the case may be. Now, this still happens to this day, not as often. It used to be literally like an alarm clock for me. But now it happens a little bit less, and since I'm puking a little bit less, I'm able to hold down a little bit more food. However, that one meal at night, on top of everything else, I would also drink at least 3/4 of a gallon to a gallon of milk. Milk is one of the things that my body was able to handle throughout this entire thing and could still handle. And I know a lot of people are like, man, it's causing inflammation. It's gonna be bad, that's hurting you, blah, blah, and I understand. But guys, that's one of the only things that my body will accept. Like, I can't handle most things. I put most things in and they come right back out. Milk has always been okay as long as I have some food in my stomach. However, as I mentioned earlier, I'm throwing up much less now. 10 to 15 times a day is drastically better than 30 to 50. So now I've added another meal and it's typically in the morning. So whether I do it first thing in the morning or more like a brunch kind of time, like 11 kind of time, really depends on how my stomach is doing and how long it takes me to start feeling better after waking up and just dealing with everything. But when I do get the chance to eat, I will do 6 eggs and a ton of vegetables. The vegetables will vary. However, it always has onions and hot peppers, whether they be jalapenos, poblanos, serranos. It's just, I love hot stuff. Now, I buy absolutely 0 eggs or milk from the grocery store. That all comes from local farmers and local sources, as well as much vegetables as we possibly can when it is in season. Once things start dying and you can't really get a hold of them anymore, then we absolutely have to resort to the grocery store. But for right now, we try to keep it as local, as organic, as like homegrown as possible. Also combined in those 6 eggs will be some sort of breakfast meat, whether it be sausage, bacon, or ham typically. And then a lot of times if I have bread, I might eat it with a piece of homemade bakery type of bread. Stuff that goes bad in like 3 days, not stuff that like you buy in a bag and you can eat it 2 weeks later. This stuff literally is like right out of the oven, you get it. So if I do have that, I will typically have a piece of bread with that breakfast. And if not, then I'll typically substitute something like sweet potatoes in there. And again, with this meal is a lot of milk. Typically, I would say ½ gallon to 3, well, I'd say probably close to about a ½ gallon of milk with that meal. Again, not bought from the grocery store. As my wife so affectionately likes to say, milk from the grocery store is like drinking pus. But luckily, we've actually met the cows that give us our milk, so thanks, cows. Now also realize that I cook with a lot of butter. That milk is whole milk, so there is a ton of fat and high calories. I don't do egg whites, none of that nonsense. It's straight eggs. So there is a ton of fat and protein in this meal. So it is a big, big game changer for me as far as total calories getting into my body. And a lot of you will be able to see that in my body composition change. I'm starting to get a little bit bigger again because I'm just holding on to more. That said, I've been able to add this extra meal for about a month now with really, really good success. So I've actually started messing around a little bit with protein shakes around my workout times as well. Now, here's a quick thing about supplements and me, guys. You never hear me talk about them because honestly, I don't really believe in most of the companies. You guys have heard all the cases against it, but here's my case against supplements. Basically, when I got really sick and started throwing up, when all this started going down, I figured it could very well possibly be one of these extra things that I'm taking in from supplements, so I cut all of that out. Absolutely everything, just cold turkey. Every supplement I was taking, all types of BCAAs, fat burners, all of it, right? Like I was really seeing what I could do. However, when I stopped doing all of that, nothing changed. I didn't get weaker, I didn't get smaller, nothing changed. So then it really started raising the question of whether I was just like eating quarters. You know what I mean? Like I felt like it was a huge waste of money. And I said pretty much at that point, I was like, I'm not gonna go back to supplements. I've been scammed for the last decade of my life. And I'd pretty much still stand to that right now. I've actually been offered a lot of deals and contracts with supplement companies that I turned down because I just don't believe in their products. However, I do have a supplement company that I am speaking to now that actually the doctor who diagnosed me and cured me from the schistosomiasis, she actually works with this supplement company, so I am giving them a good chance, and I'm actually gonna fly out and go see their headquarters and see if there's somebody that I am interested in working with, but I am going to start taking some of their supplements around my workouts and things like that just to see how that starts affecting me as well, but that will be the next thing I'm adding in. And then of course, I end the day with as big of a dinner as I can pretty much handle. It always has a lot of meat, a lot of vegetables, and typically some sort of rice. We keep it super, super basic and just pretty much try to eat as clean as possible for most of our meals. I will say though, after dinner, every single night, maybe this started with when I could eat whatever I wanted. However, I do still have some sort of dessert now. Typically, my favorite thing is chocolate chip cookies. And the reason why is because when I was really, really sick, I was like, man, if you're gonna die, you're gonna die eating chocolate chip cookies. Life is way too short to not occasionally love yourself some chocolate chip cookies. And some of us love them a little more often than others. So yeah, guys, that's it. If you guys ask how many calories it is, I have absolutely no idea. I've never counted calories. I've never had my athletes count calories. I think that is stupid. It makes people neurotic. I don't count my macros. I don't know how much protein I get. I make sure that I eat as sensibly as possible. And if I want to get bigger, I eat more of it. If I want to get smaller, I eat less of it and I move around more. It's really that basic and simple when it comes to my own personal nutrition. I don't want to get more than that because I know myself. I have a very addictive personality. That's why I won't wear one of those stupid smartwatches and like count my steps, because I literally won't be able to go to sleep until I get a certain number, and I'm gonna have to beat that number every day. It's a bad idea for me. I'm not interested. I don't want to do it, and I've never really had to. And in my experience, I've never really had to have that many other people be that strict in counting calories and being that psycho with it. So guys, this is just pretty much how I'm able to eat right now and what's going on with me. So I just want to share with you guys and tell you guys that I am getting better. I get better every single day. All my treatments, everything I've been going through for over the past ton of years has been working, and it's all going towards hopefully a better, healthier me in the year 2021, 20, whenever. But for right now, currently that's where I'm at. Throwing up 10 to 15 times a day is nothing comparatively. I am so happy and so grateful for being at this stage of my life. And I'm just excited to share it with you guys. For all of you who've been asking for so long, and so many emails and so many DMs and just contacts asking about how my health is and how it's all going, I thank you so much. I'm sorry, I needed to stop talking about it. It was getting too weird after I went away to like Elite FTS and Super Training and a couple other gyms and had really in-depth podcasts about it and like pretty emotional stuff. I just decided to kind of walk away from that for a little bit to kind of let myself kind of get past it a little bit, put a little bit in the rearview mirror so it was less painful in an everyday type of situation. And that's kind of where I'm at now. And now I'm just trying to move forward with my life and just get as healthy as possible, as strong as possible, build some log cabins, and just have a really, really good time. So I thank you guys for staying with me on this journey, especially for those of you who have seen me and stayed with me when I was sick. I literally lost so many people when I was no longer strong and no longer as big and no longer as whatever. And believe it or not, that hurt a good bit. So I'm so thankful for each and every single one of you who decided to stay with me and just share the journey. So I will be catching up with you guys later in the week with more of the cabin build. But until then, go out to something amazing, realize, keep working hard, people. Be nice to each other. I'll see you then.